Hi everyone, welcome to the module 8 of Python. This is the first part, and in this part we will be talking about how do we work with XML files. Okay, how do we parse a file, how do we read an element, okay, how do we look through all the elements, and how do we basically print the values of the elements. Okay, so first thing first, let's see that XML file. Okay, so I have my XML file over here. So this is my employee.xml file which is available. Okay, now this XML file is basically, if you know about the XML, right? So it is saying that it has a details tab, it has employee tab, and then sorry, the details, and then these are the attributes, right? So this is the element and these are the attributes of this element. Okay, or you can say these are the tags, right? So employee is a tag, it has got first name, last name, right? So on and so forth. Then I have an ID as a tag and the value is this. Okay, so if you see this, I have employee Justin, I have employee Clark, and I have employee Manuel. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to import this elementary. Okay, so what I'm going to say, I'm going to have this module to play around with my XML file. The next thing I will import is my OS module, and finally I will import my sys module. Okay, so OS module also we have seen in the past, sys module also we have seen in the past. Okay, so first thing, XML file name, so I have this XML file name, and my XML file is currently available in this location, and my file name is available in this folder, and my file name is employee.xml, right? So this is my file name. Okay, now how do I read through the file, guys? I will have tree and I will parse it. Okay, and I will say xml underscore f name. Okay, so this is my how this is how I'm going to parse it. Okay, and then I'm going to print it, and print I'm going to say tree, and I'm going to say XML parsed successfully. Okay, so now let's run this, guys. So it has been passed successfully. It returns me an object. Okay, it's a tree object, and it says XML passed successfully. Okay, of this type, element tree type object is returned, and it says passed successfully. Now what we will do, guys, we will try to uh, put it into try and catch block. Okay, so in case there are some issues with the XML, I am going to say okay, try and then raise an exception. Okay, I'm going to say exception, sorry, accept exception as E. Okay, and then I'm going to say print error E, XML passed unsuccessfully. Okay, so now once I do this, guys, okay, if there are any issues, that will be handled gracefully. Okay, and if there is some issue with the XML, what I'm going to do, I'm going to call this exit method on my to terminate my program, right? So we spoke about this also, that exit method is to terminate your program. So in case there is any issue with the XML file, I'm going to terminate it. Okay, now let me just print it. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to edit some of the XML files. Okay, so let me do this. I'm going to edit this XML file. Okay, now I'm going to run the code again. Okay, so this time if you see, was there no exception? Okay, let me just save this and let me rerun it. Okay, let me rerun the code. Now if you see this, I'm getting this XML passed unsuccessfully. So it is gracefully it has been taken care that it should not throw the traceback call. Okay, right? So which we have seen how to handle the exception gracefully. Okay, now let's do reading the elements. Okay, now I'm going to read the element, and I'm going to first read the root element. Okay, and this will be written through tree.root. Okay, or get root. So I have a get root function, and I'm going to return the tree, and I'm going to say print the root tag. Okay, and I'm going to say root dot tag, right? So this is I'm going to do, and next I'm going to print the attributes. Okay, root attributes, and I'm going to say root dot attribute. Okay, now what will happen, guys? It will take this root attribute, which is details now, and it will give me the attributes details. Okay, this will take this element, tag element, and it will give me the attribute values. Let me run this. Right, error, no element found. So okay, so what we have to do, right? So we have to revert back my XML, and let me run this code again. Now if you see this, the root tag is details and root attributes have been printed successfully. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me try to print the specific root attribute, which is called the size attribute. Okay, and I'm going to call this size attribute, and I'm going to say root dot attribute of size. Okay, let us run again. So now it says 1000 is being written for this size element. Okay, if I'm specifically interested in one of the attributes. Okay, now this is reading the root element. Okay, now let's loop through all elements. Okay, now I'm gonna say for emp in root. Okay, then I'm going to say I want is tag and the attributes, right? So I'm going to say print the tag and emp dot tag. So this is I'm going to print the tag, and I'm going to print the attribute, right? So I'm going to say attribute and print the attribute, right? So let's run through this. Now if you see this, guys, we got all the employees within the details tab, or all the details tag, right? So I have employee, I have first name. Okay, attribute, I have employee, then I have first name Clark, I have employee, then I have first name Manuel. Okay, right? So these are the different attributes. Okay, now, okay, now what if I want to get all the subchild? Okay, employee, under employee we have ID, location, and also how do I get that? So for that I'm going to do, one second, guys. Okay, right? So for that I'm going to say for subchild in emp. Okay, and then I'm going to print the same thing, right? Okay, now this time I'm going to call this tag and this attribute. Okay, and let's run through this again. So now if you see this, the location tag is printed, the ID tag is printed, the salary tag is printed, the team tag is printed. Okay, okay, so all the tags are getting printed now. Now if you see this, ID does not have any attribute, location does not have any attribute, which you can see over here. Only team has got an attribute. Okay, so what we will do, we don't want to print an empty attribute. Okay, so for that what we can do, we can say if, and we can get the length of keys. Okay, length of keys in the attribute. Okay, and check if it is greater than 0. Okay, if it is greater than 0, right, then I'm going to say print. Okay, and I'm going to print it. Okay, now I'm going to print the attributes. Okay, and I'm going to comment out this piece. Okay, now let's run through the code again. Now this time if you see, all of the tags have been there. If there are no attributes, the attributes are not been shown. Okay, only when the attribute count is more than 0, then the attributes have been shown. Right guys? Okay, fine. So this is about reading the elements. Okay, now the next thing which we are going to see is how do I print the values for each of the elements. So ID is 528, location is Noida, and so on and so forth. Okay, so what we will do, printing the elements values. Okay, now we will introduce a new function. Okay, so what we will do, for emp in root dot find all. Okay, and this is going to find all the employee. Okay, so all the employee will be found. Okay, and then what I'm going to say, okay, I need the ID for this employee. So I'm going to say emp dot, I will introduce a new function find. Okay, and this is going to find the ID. Okay, it finds an ID and then it returns me the text. Okay, right? Okay, similarly for the location and the salary. Location, salary. Okay, so I'm going to find everything. Now I'm going to print it. I'm going to say print, and I'm going to say EID, eLocation, eCell, and then the separator. Okay, so this is the separator. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to print. Okay, so let me close on this loop. Okay, right, now let's run through the code again. Right, now if you see this, when I did this, okay, I'm printing this, I'm printing this, and I'm printing this. Okay, right, so I'm printing everything, right, so all the values are getting printed. Okay, right, then the next thing which we are going to see. Okay, so now I got the values also, but let me see if I can update the elements. Okay, now how do I update it guys? Okay, so let's say I wanted to update the location. Okay, I wanted to update the location, and location is available here. Okay, so what we are going to do, okay, we are going to introduce a new method called iterator. Okay, and this iterator will iterate through the nodes and find me this location. Okay, and once it finds a location, I'm going to say location plus is equal to do something, right? I'm going to update the location, so I'm going to say Noida will become Noida city. Okay, and I'm going to say location dot set, so I'm going to set certain attributes. Okay, key value pair. Okay, so basically I'm going to say office, and I'm going to say IT park. Okay, right, so this is what I'm going to do. Now let me just print this tree dot write os dot get current working directory. Okay, and I'm going to do this files, and I'm going to, okay, I'm going to use a new file. Okay, I am going here and I have a files. Let me just remove all of them. Okay, okay, let me remove everything. Okay, and let me go back. Okay, right? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, fine. Right? So basically what I will be doing, guys, I'm going to create a new file which I'm going to call as employee underscore updated dot xml. Okay, so let's run through the code. Unsupported tags, something is wrong. Okay, so 1 second, guys, let me see what is wrong. Plus equals to, 1 second. Okay, location dot text. Okay, so this is the right way, guys. Location dot text I'm going to update. Okay, location dot set. Okay, now let's run this again. Now it is fine. So if you see this, there are no issues. A new file would have been created. Okay, so let's do. Now if you see this, employee underscore update has been created with Noida city, right? And office is equal to IT park, Bangalore city, Chennai city. So this has been updated successfully. Okay, let me just print that. Okay, print saying that details saved in the file. Okay, now, okay, now the next thing what we are going to see, guys, is to remove an element. Okay, let me see, let me tell remove a element. Okay, now how do I remove an element, guys? I'm going to say for, I would need to give specific criteria, right? So I'm going to say emp in root dot find all. Find all what, guys? Find all the employees. Okay, and for that what I'm going to do, I'm going to say e cell is equal to, I'm going to get the cell. Okay, so emp dot find salary dot text. Okay, right, and I'm going to print and say that e cell comma type of e cell. Okay, and then the separator. Okay, so this is my separator. Okay, now now I'm going to say if. Okay, so let me just print this, guys. Okay, so let me just run through the code again. Now if you see this, my salary is being returned, but it is returning a class of string. Okay, but what do I need, guys? We need a class of integers. What I'm going to do, I'm going to typecast this and say that, okay, convert it to the integer. Okay, now what I'm going to do next, if my e cell is less than 30,000. Okay, in that case what do you do, guys? You from the root dot remove and remove that specific employee. So right now I have three employees, 528, 529 and 30. So salary of 528 is 2,500, 529 is 3,500, 530 is 45,000. Not, okay, this 25,000, guys. Okay, not 2,500. Okay, okay, now I'm going to remove this and I'm going to create a new file. Okay, and this new file will not have, so this is update, will not have this employee with less than 30,000 salary. Okay, so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say remove the employee details successfully from the file. Okay, or I can just say remove the employee details successfully. Okay, now let's run through the code again. Okay, so this has been removed. Let me go here. So if you see this file has been modified, and let me say yes. Okay, so if you see the removed file, if you see that 528 ID has been removed successfully. Okay, because that employee has a salary of less than 30,000. Okay, so with this we come to the end of module 1. Okay, we will know more about database programming in the second module.